What's up guys, so this video is on a 2009 Bowtech Invasion CPX. This is an older bow, but it's still one of my favorites. I'm also going to do a review today on an RPM 360, and I still actually prefer this bow over that one, even though it's a faster, newer bow, just because of the brace height. I do really like the handle on this a lot. I like the release. It seems to be pretty tunable. It was not that difficult to tune the bow. And the accuracy, once I got the rest and the cams tuned, has been very, very, very impressive. I can shoot consistent groups out to 80 yards. I really don't see a major flaw with this. The only thing that I'm a little bummed out about is it came with 60-pound limbs. I thought they were 70 when I bought it, but that's a whole nother story. The limbs did turn up to about 63 pounds, even though the max is supposed to be 60. It has a lot of really impressive technology on it. You can adjust the draw length without a bow press, so that's really nice. You do need a special bow press to make most adjustments on this. If you want to compress the limbs to put in a peep or anything like that, you can't use a normal bow press, unfortunately. And you can't use the sort of pocket, like handheld bow presses with the vice grip in the middle if you have one of those. So that's a downside to this. But I do think the split riser makes it all worth it. The flex guard on it right here helps relieve some of the tension once you're drawn back. It takes some of the torque out of that, out of the riser. And I'm not sure how well that actually works, but it does seem to work really well. I really can't complain about it. So without rambling on any longer, I'm just going to show you what the bow can do. I'm going to shoot a quick group at 20 yards, and then I'll show you a couple shots in slow motion so you can get a good idea of how the bow reacts. One thing that I will mention is you do need the right weight stabilizer. This thing kicks up pretty hard. If you don't have a stabilizer on it, it's not going to perform well at all. It kicks up too harshly and you won't be consistent. Okay, so let's get into the first group. Alright, so here's a look at the bow shooting in slow motion, so I'll give you an idea of how the bow reacts during the shot. So that was a completely loose grip. I had an open palm. The only pressure being applied was about right here on it. So what you saw is exactly how the bow responds with the stabilizer and with the current setup. Technically, with it still kicking up some, I need a slightly heavier stabilizer. And one thing I'll touch on real quick about stabilizers, although this is sort of a different subject, is you don't need an expensive stabilizer. I actually have two stabilizers stuck together right now, and neither of them are particularly good. All you need is enough weight, and the further out it is, the less total weight the thing has to weigh. All you need is enough weight to keep the bow from kicking up when you shoot. You want it to stay flat after the shot. That'll help you have better follow through in more consistent groups. A couple closing thoughts and just a few more things I want to mention about it. This does have what I believe is called the in-velvet finish on it, which is really nice. It dampens any noises if you clank anything metal, like if your release touches it. It's still kind of loud, but it's a lot quieter than it would be if it was just a straight aluminum riser. And probably the best feature about this is the draw cycle. It's very, very smooth, and when you hit the back wall, it is rock solid. There's like almost no movement, and it sits perfectly for you. That is huge because it doesn't matter how well the bow shoots if you can't shoot it well. So that helps you perform a lot better. I'm a huge fan of the cam system they have on this and the overall draw cycle and all of that. The let off is really good. Every bow pretty much says it has like an 80% let off, but a lot of them in reality don't actually live up to what they say. This one does. It's very easy to hold back because of the draw stop on it. Everything about it is just great. So if you don't have quite as much money to buy a brand new Bowtech or a brand new bow in general, this is a really, really good option. I would still be hard pressed to trade this for a new bow just because it does everything I want it to. It's performed amazingly well under every condition I've taken it in. It has a nice short brace height, which is really good for hunting, but it doesn't lose the stability that you usually lose with a shorter axle bow. So that's really all I have to say about it, guys. I hope the review was helpful. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, as always. So I know a lot of you guys want to see what this will do past 20 yards. So here's a quick 3-shot group for you at 50. Looks like about a 2-inch group. So I'm going to zoom in on this in post. Hopefully you guys can see. I don't want to waste time walking all the way down there, but it does pretty well at long distance. Hopefully you can see that it's flying straight. Now it's really important, especially if you're shooting long distance, to make sure your bow is perfectly tuned. This bow did not do that well for me until I made sure I got the cams perfectly tuned and then got the rest perfectly tuned. Once I did, the performance went through the roof. So make sure you're doing that if you want to get the most out of your bow, and that doesn't matter what kind of bow you're shooting.